Hi, this is Rabbi Chaim Kaufman. Welcome to our 286th installment in the Torah portion of the week. We are holding a Parshas Vayechi, the last parsha in the book of Genesis. Talks about Jacob getting sick and Jacob basically dying, the blessing of Menashe and Ephraim, the blessing that Jacob gives to all his kids, Jacob's death, and all that. So the end of the parsha. Then the Parsha, Joseph reassures his brothers. And it says in Genesis chapter 50, verse 15, it says Joseph's brothers perceived that the father was dead, and they said, perhaps Joseph will nurse hatred against us, and he was sure to repay us as the evil for all the evil that we did to him. Verse 16, so they instructed that Joseph be told, your father gave orders before his death, saying, thus shall you say to Joseph, please kindly forgive the spiteful deed of your brothers and their sin, for they have done you evil. Now, please forgive their spiteful deed, or their deed, of the servants of your father's God. Joseph wept when they spoke to him. And in verse 19, Joseph said to them, fear not, for am I instead of God? Though you intended me harm, God intended for good, in order to accomplish, as clear as day, that vast people will be kept alive. So now fear not, I will sustain you and your young ones. Thus he comforted them and spoke to their heart. Right? So you got an unbelievable thing. Right? You have an unbelievable thing over here. Right? And that is the brothers claim to Joseph, and they say, listen, what's going to be? Dad over here, right? Yaakov Avinu, promised over here, you're not gonna do anything to them. You're not gonna have any ill feeling, right, to them, to the brothers. And what does Joseph say? Joseph says, am I instead of God? You intended me bad, God intended for good, and I kept you alive. So everything's for the good. Now I saw quoted the name of Moshe Vayechi, of blessed memory, one of the sons of Rav Chaim Brisker. And he says like this, he says, Joseph looked at the brothers at all times like brothers. Right? So it's a pretty incredulous thing. Rav Yisrael Brog should be son-in-law of Rav Victor Miller, a blessed memory, said in the name of Moshe Vayechi, he said, how can it be? How can this be that Yosef is able to look at the brothers as brothers? Brothers wanted to kill him, even if they claimed they had a good reason. They put him in a pit. Medrash says, he's crying to all the brothers, save him. They look the other way, right? And not only that, what do? As he's screaming, they eat bread. They're eating. So after everything happens in Egypt, and they realize what they had done, even if according to the Torah what they did was right, might have gone a little bit too far. It might have gone a little bit too far, at some level. But even so, right, Rav Moshe Vayechi over here says, how could Joseph himself look at the brothers as brothers? In other words, if we had a brother, a sibling, a parent, or whoever did anything, wrong against us, not even as bad as what happened over here, not even close. What are we thinking? What would most people be thinking? Revenge. I'm going to think of 1,000 ways to kill them, that they should suffer, other things. That's where we're holding. Right? They might say, oh, it's a little bit drastic. Come on, you really want them to suffer? Look what they put us through. Look what family, friends, others could put a person through. That's true. Why don't we learn from Joseph? Joseph at all times looked and mentioned, he said, my brothers, my brothers, my brothers. Pretty incredulous. If our brother did that to us, or our sister did that to us, we're going to claim, they're part of the family. We're going to say they're part of us. How? How is that possible? So we understand, says Parshas Vayechi. We understand how far it goes. How high that level of emunah and bitachon is. That belief and faith of God. What does Joseph tell the brothers? He says, what, I'm in the place of God? God set it up. God orchestrated it. God orchestrated it. It's all for the good. There is no bad. Right? That almost makes no sense. How can it not be bad? How do we view it as not being bad? Hard to imagine. Right? Very hard to imagine. Yosef had a very high level. Very high level of emunah and bitachon. Something we can't imagine. That's why he's punished for an extra 2 years. An extra 2 years because he told the wine steward, don't forget me. When he interpreted his dream in a positive way, he said, when you're put back in your position, don't forget me. And what does the Torah say? Not only did he forget him, he didn't remember him. Well, isn't that the same thing? He forgot, he didn't remember. Because on Yosef's level, he put his best foot forward. Shouldn't have done it. On a much higher level. Much, much higher level. But for us, that would have been the perfect ishtadlus. That would have been the perfect way of putting our best foot forward. No question. So you're going to say, well, we have to reach the level of Yosef HaTzadik? We have an obligation to say, well, my actions going to get to the actions of Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov. We can say, come on, we're 3,000 years later. How can we compare to them? So they put in the world things that we can take from, that we can learn from. Avraham Avinu fought against the world. That's why Avraham's known as Avram HaIvri. Not Abraham the Jew, he wasn't Jewish. The Gemara says he kept the Torah before it was given. Okay, the whole question, what that means. But essentially, he wasn't Jewish. So what does Ivri mean on the other side? He's on one side, and the rest of the world against him. He brought absolute monotheism to the world, right? Because, everyone said, okay, here's Bob, here's my idol, don't leave home without him. They, the world itself was all idolatry. And he said, I understand there's a God who runs the world. He's in charge. Right? He's the one calling the shots, the world by design. So they're like, Abe, God ever speak to you? At this point, no. Did he ever tell you anything? No, but I know through the way the world is. So look at the world, it's got to be a creator. Right? It's got to be a designer. So he put in the world, Mesiras Nefesh, this idea of self-sacrifice. And had he not done it, how are we able to fight what goes on around us? Right? And that self-sacrifice. He went through it. He did it. So he put that in the world. Actions of our forefathers are assigned to us. Which means he put that in the world for us to tap into. Otherwise, I would be able to fight against the world. How would that be possible? But keep in mind, that was Avram. Yitzhak, Gevurah, strength, power, fear of God. Yaakov Avinu, character trait of emes, truth. He brought these things in the world for us to tap into, to mold ourselves after them. So you're going to say, but come on, Yosef was at the highest level when it comes to Emunah B'Tachon. Highest level. So we have what to work on. Then even if someone does something wrong, even against us, we have to see where it all comes from. Right? We mentioned this many times. Good things bear repeating. Where does it all come from? God himself. God wants us to work on certain things. Okay? If I know everything comes from him, why would I ever be upset? Something happened. Someone caused me damage. Someone said something, whatever. Why are you ever going to get upset? No reason to get upset. Why is there no reason to get upset? Simple reason. God set everything up. God is putting you through it. God's putting you through the ringer. Okay? Maybe it's not easy. But if you know where it comes from, and you understand the bigger picture, nothing to get upset about. No, on the other hand, a person can say, wow, gone through trauma, gone through difficulties, other things, true. Very true. It's all, a person may need therapy to get through things. We're not saying things are not hard. And people do not have trials. But you see, there's someone in the world called Yosef Atzadik. Yosef Atzadik was able to look at what his brothers did and said, they're still my brothers. 100%, they're still my brothers. And yeah, he was screaming, wanted help, want to be saved, but he didn't take it out on them. He didn't plan, say, I'm going to kill them, this, that. Could have. Might have been justified, all the pain they caused him, and the pain they caused their father. The Shekhinah did not rest upon Yaakov at that time, because Shekhinah, the God's presence, does not rest upon someone who's sad. It's understandable. His youngest son didn't know what happened to him. Tremendously sad, no question. Because that pain, tremendous pain. And what did Yosef say? It's all good. Not Gamzu, not like Rabbi Akiva called David Rachmanu L'Toivav. Everything that God does is for the best. He said, like Nachamish Gamzu L'Toiv. It's all good. Because we're not holding like that. We're not holding close to that in the world. We have what to strive for. We have what to strive for. Not only we want to go on the right path and do the right thing, but even when things are difficult, even if things are hard, we got to realize the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is God's in charge. God puts us through these things. So it's obviously for me to go through whatever we have to go through. What's more than that? It's looking at whatever's thrown our way. Whatever it is, God's the one in charge. God's sending us messages. These people are only the messenger. The question is, do we get the message? So what are you getting upset at the messenger for, says the Chofetz HaLevavot in Shar B'Tachon? In the gate of belief and faith in God. What are you getting upset about? You're going after the stick. Right? Person takes a stick and hits a dog. Who's the dog? Go after the stick. Not saying it's permissible to hit a dog. But the point is, person goes after the stick. We also go after the stick. God just uses these people to get to us. They're the messenger. So I have to circumvent them, and see, what does God want from me? What does he want me to work on? Why am I getting upset at the stick? That's the obvious question. So logically, it doesn't make sense. How do we make sense out of it? Because we understand this bigger picture. We understand God's giving us the message. Question is, do we get the message? But these are messengers. That's what they are. Nothing more, nothing less. So why am I going to get upset at the stick? That's the message. Comes along Yosef, a tzaddik, to tell us, no matter what happens, no matter what somebody does, they're the messenger. That's all they are. God's the one sending the message. But you'll say it's hard and it's this, okay? Right? Yosef had such bitachon. He had such emunah, such belief. Never easy. Imagine what it's like being in a jail in Egypt back then. Imagine. Yeah, he's in a pit, snakes, scorpions. Brothers want to kill him. I mean, got a very hard life. You know, how many of us, if we were in that situation, say, oh, these are my brothers. Oh, this is my sister. Oh, these are my parents. Right? Nobody. Nobody. We again, we would think of 100 ways to kill people. You say, well, aren't we justified? But when they did, it caused damage. Well, isn't God going to take care of them? God will take care of them. That's not the issue. Right? We're not talking about that aspect. The aspect we're talking about is the fact that God said, that Joseph's able to look at them, his brother, family. Pretty incredulous. So you're going to say, we're so far from that. Okay. We have what to work on. But he brought it to the world. He gave us this ability to be able to do it. To be able to overlook everything. And say it's all good. As we always say, you get beaten down in life. So it's hard. How do I see the good in this? Have to look. Maybe you have to look, a little bit deeper than you normally would. Right? One example, Victor Miller, blessed memory, would say, you go to synagogue. You see a guy there, he doesn't really pray that much. Or even if he does, he talks and disturbs people, this, that. And it bothers you. It bothers you. You want to say something, person's probably not going to listen, might make fun of you, this, that. So Victor Miller says, how are you going to love such a person? What do you mean love? A person is a nudnik over here. Comes, walks the aisles, talks, schmoozes, this, that. So Victor Miller says, think for a few seconds. Good things about this person. So you can love them. What's something good you can think of? Such a case. What would be something that's good? You know what something that's good? He's there every day. Prays there every day. Consistent. Look for something positive, says Rav Victor Miller. When you look for something positive, you probably find something else that's positive. And then you'll be able to love them. Right? Why let them get on your nerves? They're going to say, well, that's not so easy. Changing the way we think is not easy. Being great people is not easy. It's not easy. We have to work. We have to strive. But the Torah is telling me you have someone so great that can overlook everything his family did, meaning everything his brothers did, to still consider them brothers even through the difficult part. That's what Torah wants to teach. Right? Well, that's what Moshe Soloveitchik over here is saying. Look at what he did. Look at how he's able to look at his brothers and say, you didn't do anything wrong. What did you do wrong over here? This is what God wanted. This is all part of the big plan. Okay, got thrown in the pit. Other issues. but he still looks at them as family. Still looks at them as family. That is inspirational. That's incredible. I want to remind everyone, I give a class in Duties of the Heart every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Tuesday and Thursday, I have Q&As. 10 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock Israel time. Thursday, Tanakh Talk, controversial issue. Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Saturday, Ethics of Our Fathers, 2 o'clock Eastern time, 9 o'clock Israel time. Sunday book of Leviticus, chapter 16, 9 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock Israel time. And No Hide Nations, No Hide classes, Sunday, 2:30 Eastern time, 9:30, 9:30 Israel time. Again, those are the No Hide laws. I also have conversion classes. Anyone interested in any of this, find me on Facebook at Michael Chaim Kaufman, or Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism. You can send me an email, rabbichaimkaufman@gmail.com, RBBICHAIMCOFFMAN@gmail.com.